Good morning, Port Harcourt.
Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Now, even before we had this, food blockade thing, you're someone who has been vocal about sufficiency. You've always talked about how we need to increase production as regards food. And it seems that this is supposed to be an eye-opener. But why do you think that other parts of Nigeria that is not northern, especially us here in the south, why do you think we're lagging behind with food production? What's the reason?
We're lagging behind because we have oil. We have oil, and oil makes us feel relevant. We feel the whole Nigerian economy is sustaining on oil. I mean, the oil runs behind our backyards. We can fetch it at any time. We are the wealth, we are the treasure base of the nation. I mean, look at the South State. Delta has oil. Akwa Ibom has oil. River State has oil. Come on, we are the big guys. So, why would we want to do dirty work? Why would we want to focus on agriculture? We have the main thing, which is oil. And I think the oil is deviating attention from agriculture that has huge, huge potential world over. So first of all, the oil.
Now,
you have oil, you have everything.
Even if we decide to focus on agriculture, experts have said that there are some things that we cannot grow in this part of the country because of our climatic conditions.
Yeah, true. We have heavy rainfall. I mean, Port Harcourt is where the south is where it will rain on Christmas Day. Harmattan just breezes in and breezes out. So yes, we are heavy rainfall. There are some crops that require dry land, arid land to grow. The vegetables, onions, tomatoes, they thrive better in dry weather. But River State has rich soil. I mean, our soil does well. When you plant, everything grows. We have rich, fertile soil. You do not need a lot of fertilizer to plant here. We have good soil. So I feel these things can be manipulated. The thing about agriculture is things can be manipulated. It can be manipulated. If it's dry land, you can put in irrigation systems that let everything thrive. I keep talking about Israel because, I mean, they're desert land, but they are pace setters, they're trend setters, they're leveraging on technology, leveraging on systems to thrive, agric-wise. So why will desert land thrive? It's because agriculture can be manipulated. So I feel down here, if we get serious on this thing, we can manipulate everything. We can build greenhouses that are temperature controlled, large greenhouses that are temperature controlled. We can manipulate everything to suit us if it becomes what is important. It can be manipulated and it can work. So I think it starts with being ready, looking at what we have. Okay, what is on ground in River State? How is our vegetation? How can we now start, controlling things so that we get what we want? There's something I want to quickly mention. We're known for seafood.
Yeah.
Okay, so one thing we're strong in is in the area of, there's agriculture is about plants and animals, livestock and crops. Right?
Yeah.
So we're strong in the seafood area. But recently you go to the market and you're hearing the sea is bad. You're looking for our prawns to buy, our shrimp to buy. I keep hearing the river is bad. Crude oil exploration, bunkering is affecting sea life. And then we're not getting these things. But we can actually farm prawns. The same way we raise catfish in artificial ponds and grow them. We can grow our prawns and our shrimp that same way. Ghana is doing it. They do it large scale in Ghana. They're exporting to other African countries. So these are things we should start thinking of. How can we make it work? How can we make it work? And River State, we have land, we have sea. We have land, though. They think it's all river. No, we have land. Ogoni, drive down. Ogoni has a lot of land. Upland, Koda, they have a lot of land. What are we doing? We have land, we have sea, we have fertile soil. Let's leverage on what we have. So we need to start thinking seriously.
Okay.
I mean, we have potential in this space beyond oil, way beyond oil.
It's one thing to start. It's another to take it mainstream. I think the mainstream part is where, a huge part of the challenge lies because we want to be sufficient. Do you think we have the capacity to take it to that level where we may not need to depend as much on other regions in the country?
We have the capacity. I think what is lacking here is the sensitization. It's the buy-in. We have to get everyone involved. It has to be a campaign. It has to start. I mean, I've been very, very, very vocal about this. If it doesn't start now, when will it start? When will it start? So these things, the narrative has to be sold. And that is why I started talking about agriculture, because 2 years ago I looked at it. I was like, why world over agriculture is, it's making headlines, and Rivers State is very quiet? Where are the farmers? Where are the agro-entrepreneurs? Where are the commodity traders? Where are people doing things in agriculture? And that is what led me to start researching into the why and why not of Rivers State. And I found out a lot in my quest. I wanted to do an agricultural fair, and so this is what I do in the Creative Hub. I look at sectors that have potential, the creative economy, the creative industry. I also looked at agriculture. Any sector that has potential, but I feel is being underserved. The potential is not being explored enough. The creativity within that sector is not being highlighted. That's what I now start to do. I start digging deep to pull out the creativity within any sector that has potential to attract people. Because I think once people can see the potential, you're not selling it the usual way. So agriculture is normally seen as, mundane, basic. Yeah. It's rural. There's nothing sophisticated about it. The Riversman, the South, we're very proud culturally. We like to look good. And this is looked at as agriculture is looked at as, the most basic, dirty work, the end of it. When you have no other option, then you look to agriculture. That's why you hear many people saying, you want to send me back to the village, go farm. You know what make am first. You want to send me back to the village to go and farm. It's the end of the poverty line. That's what we see it as. So I think it starts with this sensitization. The agro value chain is huge and it's wide. You don't have to be carrying a hoe to be playing in agriculture. It starts from growing to supply to transportation to fertilizer to feed to adding value. It's huge. And then part of what the Creative Hub is doing, we want to start a kids, going into schools, catching the mind young, catching it young, going into schools, starting to sell this agricultural narrative from a very creative end that we attract in the young people, that a young person within the South can say, I want to be a farmer when I grow up, and fully understand what this is all about.
Now,
and how do you get kids interested? You have to start from the basics.
Truly.
So that you get this buy-in and the sensitization all around.
All right. Now, 2 years ago, you tried to get farmers together. I remember you telling me about that.
Yes, I did.
I want to talk about that experience. What were the challenges that you experienced trying to pull that off?
So I wanted to have an agricultural fair called the Port Harcourt Agricultural Fair. I wanted to have master classes where people come in to learn. I wanted to have an agriculture exhibition. I wanted to do a grain art competition. I wanted to have a petting zoo where children interact with young animals. I wanted to have gardening classes, cooking classes, just make agriculture, so interesting. And when I now started looking for who are the key players in agriculture? This was 2 years ago. Who are the key players in agriculture I can talk to and get their buy-in on this project? I now found out there's no key player. Everybody operates in silos. Everybody is individually shouting, blowing their own trumpet, see me, see me. We work individually down here. And that is what other regions in Nigeria have understood. They've understood the power of coming together. They say when you run alone, you run fast. But when you run together, you run far. You go far. You cover the distance when you're together, and you bring in visibility. Through collaborations and coming together, you gain more momentum and you get noticed. And so when I realized that there was no farming community, there was no agro-producers community, nothing. It was just everybody working in silos. Then I started pulling people together. I think the first challenges I noticed was lack of trust. Lack of trust. Nobody wants to feel, everybody feels, why are you doing this thing? There has to be a reason why. The selflessness or wanting to push the narrative, which is what the Creative Hub stands for, we're a social enterprise. So we always want to push the change, push the narrative, impact community. I had that. A lot of people asking the questions, watching me, why does she want to do this? Is it a popularity contest? What does she want to gain? What's the end reason? But when they checked through, they actually saw it was just a pure desire to let's start making things happen in this state. Somebody must do it. Who will bail the cat?
Now,
and so I started working with them gradually, and everybody came around.
All right.
And we've enjoyed a lot of benefits.
I can imagine. Together. But there's a whole lot more to do. So, talking about Israel, which you pointed out earlier, using technology to make what seemed impossible possible.
Yes.
For us to get to that point where things we couldn't grow before might become possible thanks to technology, don't you see that as a long shot, considering that we're still trying to battle basic human problems? Getting to the point of using technology for the purpose of agriculture, that seems like next level kind of thing.
Right. When I say technology, I'm not talking about drones flying in the sky, or mutation of. I'm not talking about the high-level technology, like up to that point of interbreeding, hybriding, crossbreeding, trying to manipulate everything. I'm talking about the most basic levels of leveraging on technology for greater impact and reach. Greenhouse technology is basic. But it's just doing it on a wide scale.
Okay.
Wide scale across. So if you have greenhouses on a wide scale across, you can grow the tomatoes, you can grow the bell peppers, you can grow everything that is grown in the north. So I'm not talking about high-tech to that point.
Okay.
But I'm talking about just at least the basic established ones that we need to have these things down south. It can be done. It's very doable. It's easy to do. And I feel with government support, I believe in top-down. I believe in it's easier to achieve things when the top buys it in and pushes the narrative down. You get faster and greater impact than when a few individuals like me at the bottom, we are screaming, crying, dying, doing what we can from our bottom to push the narrative to the top, to get the top spine. It's a harder journey. I feel if government is involved and it becomes like a campaign, it's a campaign, widespread campaign across the state. What are you doing? How are we getting tech experts to meet agro and experts? How are we bringing them together? Because everybody is leveraging on technology these days. Okay. How are we making the e-commerce? When we start producing, how are we going to sell? How are we getting it out? What are we leveraging on? Get tech experts to meet agro experts. Let them start discussing these things. These things are doable. And it's until you start, then that's where you now know the potential. And the potential is huge. So we can start with what we have, the most basic of technology, and then gradually grow because it is doable. And it's also rewarding financially.
Yeah,
agriculture is rewarding. There's money in agriculture. It's man's most basic need. We must all eat.
Yeah.
We buy food no matter what. We eat every day.
Well, let's work
It's our most basic need. It's easy. I mean, you're not going to be preaching to anyone. You know the importance of eating food. You're not going to preach that to anyone. We must eat. If not, we will die.
Truly.
So just leverage on this most basic need. And I feel River State is an amazing. The South that we have potential to be great all round. And we must start thinking. We must start innovating because it's only in the space of innovation can you create and do things differently.
Okay.
And so that is the space I operate in, and that is how I look at things from the outside looking in.
So let's imagine that the government does not respond, which they haven't done for many other sectors. And, well, we keep waiting and hoping. What is a place of personal responsibility? What must people do on their own to also make a change, just in case the government is very busy with other projects?
Right. So we need more voices like me that are very passionate, looking for solutions within this area. Because I feel if we're all, the world over, there are opportunities in agriculture. So it doesn't have to actually be the government, with our state government or our Nigerian government. You can actually do, if all of us were change agents talking about this thing, working on it, I feel it can actually push attention from governments world over, from, there's the FAO. There are a lot of international organizations focused on food. There's the UN. We have a lot of aspects to it. So I feel if we also try to get the buy-in of other, my mantra is, what are you growing? So basically, in your own home, what are you growing? When we're growing up, we were not buying ichan, we were not buying ugu, we were not buying pepper, we were not buying basic things. We had them in our backyard. You won't go out and say, I'm going to the market to buy bitter leaf. It was always in your backyard. So why are we not growing within your own little space? What are you growing? I think making everybody responsible to know you have to grow something, be growing something. Agriculture should be a way of life, a part of what we do. And I feel if everyone is talking, if there are change agents talking, we will get the attention of somebody. And we need to also come together. We don't have cooperatives. We don't have corporate, because sometimes you have to be a cooperative to be able to access grants, access loans, and get attention of in growing and sustainability in agriculture.
Well, thank you very much, Ibinabo, for your time. It's been a pleasure speaking with you. Are you on social media? Of course, I know you are.
Yes, I'm on social media. We're on Instagram at Creative Hub PH, Creative Hub PH, and we're also on Instagram as the Farmers Community. The Farmers Community.
All right.
That's where we are.
Have yourself a beautiful day.
Okay, thank you for having me. Okay, bye-bye, Sam.
All right.
Bye.
So after the break, we'll be speaking with a farmer, somebody who in this part of the country has also tried to push the narrative of self-sufficiency. After the break, we have that conversation. Don't go anywhere.
Connect with your customers. Advertise on 92.3 Nigeria Info. Visit our downtown office at Shop 9, Mediatrix of All Gracies Plaza, opposite FIRS, Stadium Road, Port Harcourt, and book your commercials. Call 0817-001-8162. That is 0817-001-8162. And let us connect you to your customers.
We crossfire in the morning. Crossfire in the morning. Get into the midday dialogue and tell you about the hard facts, and then let's talk into the chat station. All for you on 92.3 Nigeria Info. We crossfire in the morning. Crossfire in the morning. Get into the midday dialogue and tell you about the hard facts, and then let's talk into the chat station. All for you on 92.3 Nigeria Info. We crossfire in the morning. Crossfire in the morning. Get into the midday dialogue and tell you about the hard facts, and then let's talk into the chat station. All for you on 92.3 Nigeria Info. We crossfire in the morning. Crossfire in the morning. Get into the midday dialogue and tell you about the hard facts, and then let's talk into the chat station. All for you on 92.3 Nigeria Info. We crossfire in the morning. Crossfire in the morning. Get into the midday dialogue and tell you about the hard facts, and then let's talk into the chat station. All for you on 92.3 Nigeria Info. We crossfire in the morning. Crossfire in the morning. Get into the midday dialogue and tell you about the hard facts, and then let's talk into the chat station. All for you on 92.3 Nigeria Info. We crossfire in the morning. Crossfire in the morning. Get into the midday dialogue and tell you about the hard facts, and then let's talk into the chat station. All for you on 92.3 Nigeria Info. We crossfire in the morning. Crossfire in the morning. Get into the midday dialogue and tell you about the hard facts, and then let's talk into the chat station. All for you on 92.3 Nigeria Info. We crossfire in the morning. Crossfire in the morning. Get into the midday dialogue and tell you about the hard facts, and then let's talk into the chat station. All for you on 92.3 Nigeria Info. We crossfire in the morning. Crossfire in the morning. Get into the midday dialogue and tell you about the hard facts, and then let's talk into the chat station. All for you on 92.3 Nigeria Info. We crossfire in the morning. Crossfire in the morning. Get into the midday dialogue and tell you about the hard facts, and then let's talk into the chat station. All for you on 92.3 Nigeria Info. We crossfire in the morning. Crossfire in the morning. Get into the midday dialogue and tell you about the hard facts, and then let's talk into the chat station. All for you on 92.3 Nigeria Info. We crossfire in the morning. Crossfire in the morning. Get into the midday dialogue and tell you about the hard facts, and then let's talk into the chat station. All for you on 92.3 Nigeria Info. We crossfire in the morning. Crossfire in the morning. Get into the midday dialogue and tell you about the
Point 3 Nigeria Info.
COVID-19 pandemic is not a hoax.
This is the Morning Crossfire on 92.3 Nigeria Info.
Welcome back. It's still the Morning Crossfire 92.3 Nigeria Info. My name is Sam Oracle Chinedu. We're talking about the blockade, of course, food from north to the south. Now, self-sufficiency is defined as the ability to maintain oneself without outside aid, capable of providing one's own need. It really does seem like, well, that's not the case for other regions in the country. And owing to this strike, if you may, people in certain positions have advised that other regions achieve this state of self-sufficiency when it comes to food. You should be able to feed yourself. And to my guest earlier, I was talking about some of the challenges she went through just trying to do that right here in River State and, of course, the nation. Now, all of this is coming because the leadership of cattle and foodstuff dealers under the aegis of Amalgamated Union of Foodstuff and Cattle Dealers have agreed to end the blockade of food supplies to the south. They reached agreement at a meeting with some governors in Abuja. Now, that strike started on the 25th of February over claims of losing their members and properties during the NSAS protest and Shasa market chaos. My next guest is a farmer, Christian Okorede. He runs Millionaire Farms. Good morning, Christian.
Morning, Mr. Sam.
Thank you for joining us. How are you doing?
I'm perfect, extremely, and you?
I'm wonderful. All right. So you're the guy who's doing the business of farming right here in River State. Of course, you tell us your challenges and you help people set up farms. With the kind of farming we do, the level at which we do it, can we feed ourselves? Do we have enough to not rely on anybody?
Well, the truth is that, or perhaps the pure answer is a no.
Why?
Because even the food that comes from the north, combined with all of the farm produce that are being produced in Nigeria, cannot even feed Nigerians.
Really?
Absolutely.
Are we eating too much?
No, it is just that we don't produce enough.
Oh. Okay, so even at the national level, we're still not meeting the target.
Absolutely.
So what's the reason for this? You said we're not producing enough. Is it because we don't want to produce, or we just don't have the capacity to produce? Which is it?
Well, I think that there are many things involved, and then I think that is even now that most persons are being cautious because there is this mindset about people go into farming, and those that goes into farming are people that are
they are poor.
Poor, and then not do well in the society, or they have no other option. So they are the people that go into agriculture or farming, basically.
Okay.
So, so that is one of the mentality. And then also, I've been farming for about 5 years now or more, and I found out that for you